This is Stellar Gnosis. This is Seven. I'm your host today during this podcast, and I'm here with my favorite ladies.
Star Fox
and the Trinity.
It's been a while. I missed you too.
Yeah, it's been a whole week.
It's been a whole week.
It's too long.
One whole week.
It feels like forever.
It really does, though.
Yeah. We were talking off mic for what, 2 hours?
Yeah. For 2 hours.
Yeah, we were really getting into it.
Catching up on the last 6 days of events.
Yeah, the last one day, really, everything's accelerated.
When you're in spiritual warfare.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm glad you're back.
Yes, what are we learning about today?
Let's be real. I'm sure every one of our listeners are familiar with UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'd be surprised if you weren't.
Or at least heard of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping. Because if you don't,
you live under a rock.
Yeah.
You're in for a real treat today.
Yes. Is that what we're learning about?
Well, yeah, we're going to be discussing their underwater counterpart.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it's basically, they're called underwater submerged objects.
So USOs.
USOs, not UFOs.
Is that what they're called? I didn't know that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so today we're going to discuss those things.
Amazing.
All right.
Awesome.
Can't wait.
Scientists estimate that 91% of ocean species have yet to be classified.
No way. 91?
91.
We only know 9% of what's in our oceans.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, think of that next time you go skinny dipping.
Rookies. Serious. What are we doing?
Yeah. And more than 80% of our oceans are unmapped, unobserved,
What?
or unexplored.
I had no idea. Like that seems staggering.
So
to
like
me.
we've explored more of space than we have explored our underwater endeavors.
Yeah, we know more about our
Saying
solar
a lot,
system.
considering
Right?
space is infinite.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah. We can map out space in our immediate galaxy more than we can about our oceans and our lakes.
Yeah,
It's incredible.
I
That
actually
is
heard
wild.
somewhere, don't quote me on this, but I heard that NASA initially started off as a water exploration team. And at some point, they just completely changed directions and started going into the sky instead. And
What did they find?
there's a lot of hearsay that they must have found something that spooked them, that shut her down.
Spooky.
Better for business.
Yeah. Probably found freaking Atlantis or like
For sure.
another entrance to Inner Earth.
Oh,
or-
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they literally started from the bottom,
Yeah.
Drake would say.
So tell us more about USOs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so what ends up happening is I've heard in the mainstream narrative, by scientists, they say it's really difficult to travel underwater, especially because of, they call it immense pressure. So as you go deeper, it's like having more than one Earth atmosphere of pressure on your body.
Mm.
Okay. And that's kind
You
of
can do
why.
it with machines, though, right?
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
need to build specialized machines in order to do this, submarines and underwater laboratories.
Well,
Yes.
can't submarines go at least 35,000 feet under, or am I
Well,
wrong?
Well, we've actually been to Mariana's Trench. And Mariana's Trench, for those of you who don't know, it's 36,000 feet deep.
Wow.
Yeah, the pressure is so immense, it's the equivalent to 1,000 Earth atmospheres.
So basically, it would squish a human body.
It would compress you very quickly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ham
Yeah.
sandwich.
So I'm gonna go into now one of the older USO stories
Cool.
that I've researched. Okay, and it takes place in Japan. In 1803, a round vessel drifted ashore on the Japanese coast in the province of Hitachi. The vessel was described as being shaped like a rice pot or an incense burner. And this story of what they call Utsurobune, or hollow ship, is found in many records of the Japanese Edo period. And that period was from 1600 to about 1868.
So it was saucer shaped.
Yeah, basically, if you look, I'm going to show you guys a photo. It's a rice pot. It looks very saucer-like.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was written by more than one person. In
What'd they find inside it?
well, I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
According to these texts, the locals describe a woman around 18 to 20 years of age. She was well dressed and beautiful, and she emerged from the hatch of the ship clutching a wooden box. Her face was described to be as pale, and her eyebrows and hair were red.
Pandora's
Wow.
box.
Well,
Brought to you by the Irish.
red is depicted as the gods. So if you have red hair, red pigment.
I didn't know that.
Yes, it's
Beautiful.
Freddie Silva talks about that
Yes.
in his research.
I've always had a ginger fetish. Maybe it was really akin to the gods.
You were in love with the gods.
God complex.
Makes so much sense.
There was actually, if you're familiar with a researcher, his name's Brian Forrester. He travels to Peru, and he says the skulls that they found in Paracas, they're called the Paraka Skulls, and they have these elongated skulls.
Yes,
and
they're elongated.
I've seen pictures of those.
And they have red hair.
they have red hair.
Yep.
And what happens is they're
How
not
red are we talking?
like full on
red
Irish
or
red.
Yeah, like
red,
Irish red.
Oh.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be, technically, they shouldn't be found in that part of the world. But not only that, is these skulls weren't a product of cranial deformation or headboarding, as some cultures do. I believe that they kind of did that to mimic the ancient beings that did have naturally elongated skulls.
Yeah, and apparently they had certain abilities that were more profound than the atomically modern human.
Wow. It makes me kind of sad because, like, in our modern culture, they try to make being gingered hair or red haired like a bad thing.
I know, right?
Or like you're soulless or you're ugly. And I always thought they were the most beautiful people on the
I
planet.
know. I always loved it.
Like the pale skin, the freckles, the green
It's so
and blue
cute.
eyes. Like it's just, it looks like out of this world.
right?
you
And
know?
it really is.
Yeah, it's fast and they're made to feel like ugly about themselves when they should feel godly, you know?
Well, we all should feel godly about ourselves.
We have
because-
it all in us.
Yeah, we have it all in us.
There was even depictions of Akhenaten, and they were saying that Akhenaten was actually one of these elongated skull, red-haired.
And who's Akhenaten? So our
He was an Egyptian pharaoh. They wanted to remove any trace of him.
classic
Yep.
history.
They actually defiled all of his hieroglyphics and
Yeah.
his wife's hieroglyphics as well.
Mother as well.
Dude.
Yeah, to hide all of the ancient culture teachings.
Wow.
From what I believe, he was going against the establishment at that point too, right?
Yes, like the priests.
The priests had a lot of control, and they didn't want to lose it because Akhenaten at that time was bringing, well, what it seemed was radical changes, but it was actually going back to a time where it was much more simpler. He wasn't exactly worshiping single deities. He wanted to bring it back to the sun worship.
Yep. So he didn't want monotheism. He wanted polytheism again as well.
So beautiful that there's people who've been fighting the oligarchy and the man for literally eons.
We'll
like,
find that man
Since
one day.
history, there have been freedom fighters.
Oh
Yep.
yeah,
There
we're
have been
everywhere.
People trying to preserve the ancient wisdom, and
Absolutely.
not pervert it.
Yep.
And that is such a hopeful thing. And now more than ever, we have people by the hundreds of thousands revolutionizing and inheriting that energy.
Absolutely.
Is the Ankh symbol named after him? Because now that I'm seeing how his name is spelled, it's very
No, the
similar.
Ankh goes back to Osiris and Isis, and it actually means immortal life.
Look at this man.
Yes, I know it means immortal life. I was
have
on
it
the first-
tattooed on
yeah,
you.
That's why I got my tattoo. Is because
You're an immortal soul.
Look at this man. Look, see how they defiled some of his depictions.
Yes.
Whenever they depicted him, he was like, "Depict me as I am."
no chisel shop.
Just
Well, they described when they made statues of Akhenaten, they made him the way he actually looked, and they didn't make it in a proportion where he looked, let's just say, muscular or whatever the Greeks would do,
look at
right?
that
It's very
beautiful
feminine hips.
belly. I was gonna
Yes.
say it looks like he's with child in that sculpture.
Yeah, he kind of has a little bit of a tum.
Yeah.
But at least he's eating well.
Exactly.
All right, guys, let's get back to USOs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Back to USOs.
see her where
totally
red hair
forgot
takes
we were
us.
talking about that.
We get lost. Yeah. So back to our
Lost in the ancient sauce.
yeah, our woman emerging from the Utsurobune.
Are you gonna tell us what was in the box? Do they know what was in the box?
Absolutely not,
Oh,
because
darn.
they weren't able to communicate with her. These fishermen
Oh.
said that she was speaking some sort of language that, well, it was impossible to communicate.
Got you.
So there was no possible way for them to understand where she was from. But they said that her craft was covered with mysterious writing, and they actually peeked inside of it too. So they described the writing almost like a pseudo-Roman or some sort of hieroglyphs.
Sounds like a movie almost, hey?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Like this thing coming out of a saucer coming out of the water, has a bunch of ancient texts inscribed on it.
Mhm.
Fair skinned, red hair,
Yep.
walks out of it with a box. Like so mysterious.
Mhm.
She can't speak the language. Maybe she was Atlantean or
knows?
Lemurian.
Yeah, she
Who
was
knows?
definitely from somewhere out of this world, you know, or
Mhm.
in under this
But
world.
she was
or-
submerged in water for how long? That's
Well,
the question.
we don't know
What was
that.
I wonder what her point of going there was.
She was described as you know, she looked healthy. She looked very beautiful. She had a box.
She had a box?
She had a box with. She had a
I was gonna say,
this
whoa,
beautiful wooden box with her. She showed up with this craft.
dying
but
to know what's in it.
They described
Me
they
too.
described almost like windows, and they said it had metal and hard, thick glass.
So it was transparent?
Yeah, there was thick, transparent glass apparently on this ship.
It sounds like a modern style ship too.
Yes,
that
sounds
they're
very modern.
describing. Wow, that's so cool. Do they still have the ship somewhere or?
No,
Oh,
if they did, we would have a lot more answers. But it was
Did she just, like,
1803.
dipset in it?
Yeah.
She's not from here, so she
There-
probably emerged from underneath the water. Maybe
Yeah.
she was in a slender of some sort of
Mhm.
or some sort, and she probably was like, "Okay, bye," leaving the atmosphere and took off.
Goodbye.
Yeah, and I know
You didn't want my
since then the Navy and the Air Force have reported seeing vehicles, ships, cylindrical things
Mhm, Tic
coming
Tacs.
up from the water
Oh,
in
yeah.
the middle of the ocean and stuff. Where
Yes.
there's nothing around like for miles.
So many
Mhm.
sightings of
Yeah.
like they describe it as like light balls that
Yeah.
go underneath the water and you can see them from your boat
Yeah.
under the water. It's
Or those
insane.
holes that just open up,
Yeah.
like a tunnel suddenly appears or something. Like what a trip.
There's actually more recent sightings. So if you're following any disclosure that's happening right now in the media, there's these videos that surfaced and they're showing these rapidly zooming crafts zipping across what looks like to be a fighter pilot's screen. That's been released more recently, and that's actually from the ship. It's called the USS Nimitz. And this Tic Tac incident that I'm going to show you is from November 14th, 2004, and it was recently released by the Pentagon and the Department of Defense.
The Tic Tac incident. of
Yeah. The delicious Tic Tacs. I'm going to show you the video right now.
Sounds good.
Oh yeah, I remember that video.
That's in the water?
No, that's in the water.
That's supposed to be just above the water.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that video a lot of people have seen, and that video has been out for years.
Yes.
But just recently did they say that was an unidentified object.
Yeah, so this video shows a radar visual encounter of an unidentified flying object by U.S. fighter pilots of the Nimitz Carrier Strike Group. December 2017, this infrared footage of the encounter was released to the public. Pilots described it as floating just above the ocean's surface, and it was, I quote, moving like a ping pong ball, defying the laws of physics. In this video, it's incredible how fast this object is going, and there's no propulsion systems. You don't see any exhaust. Could it possibly be anti-gravity is what I'm trying to...
Probably.
Yeah, very well could be.
Well, if it's moving faster than something they've ever seen, then it's clearly not our own technology.
yeah.
Yeah, there's no heat signatures, because you know when we have our fighter pilots, they produce a lot of heat, and you can
Yes.
see that very visibly.
It's not using rocket fuel.
It's definitely not using propulsion systems
Yeah.
from Earth.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's not using carbon fuel.
Yeah, so I mean, the reason why I would classify it as a USO case, because there was a senior chief that went on the record saying that numerous pilots encountered Tic Tac-like objects that day, and he recalls the sky was raining UFOs from
Whoa.
25,000 feet down to the sea.
The sky was raining UFOs into the ocean.
That's what he described it.
Oh my. So they were coming
That's
from
incredible.
the sky and entering the oceans.
Yeah, he was.
And then just disappearing into
Yes.
the oceans.
Yes.
What,
Okay.
what if they're hiding down there?
That's what I'm trying to say. Is if they're able to come to Earth, how hard is it for them to go underneath the water?
Well, of course, because we don't even know 91% of our oceans. So that's like the perfect hiding spot for them.
Absolutely.
So in one of my favorite shows, Final Space, they actually have a whole season where there are these things called the Titans. They're another race of aliens. They're huge, like gods almost. But they sometimes have nefarious agendas.
Are they Nephilim? No, I'm joking.
They kind of err on, like that kind of energy.
Yeah.
Some of the negative ones planted eggs in the center of the earth, like in the earth's core, to incubate basically, and they've been growing these aliens in these pods in our earth, and when they start hatching or breaking out, it causes natural disasters like earthquakes and tsunamis and things, because it's literally shaking from the core out. And I just thought that was eerily similar to what you guys are talking about, and these egg-shaped things coming in and out of the water. And I would assume they are of alien agenda.
Mhm.
Wow.
There's so much of the oceans and
Yes.
even our lakes that we haven't
Yes.
explored either. He recalls that Sky was rating UFOs from 25,000 feet down to the sea.
Wow.
Then that same craft that they tracked on that fighter jet radar, it reportedly traveled about 60 miles in under a minute.
Holy.
Yeah, they reported back to him. They told him, he's like, well, we spotted it about 60 miles away from you. It would have to have traveled 3,700 miles an hour, and it's moving like a ping pong ball. So, I mean, that doesn't sound like any technology I know that I know we have.
Also, the flight patterns for sure. That's a good point.
Especially that shape of Tic Tac. That's not very aerodynamic.
So have, like, to your knowledge, and I don't know if you looked into this, but have there been any, like, sightings of actual human entities or creatures, like, in the ocean sphere?
So I've heard of different creatures
Tell
that
us.
have existed in the oceans and the lakes.
Loch Ness.
But yeah, that's another
the
one.
Kraken. He's back. Apparently they found the Kraken. Like, the Kraken is alive and well.
Really? Where's he been?
At the bar. No, I'm just kidding.
I was going to say that. I was going to say Kraken bottles.
Drinking some Kraken at the bar.
He's been releasing his own rum.
No, well, they actually found him in the ocean and, like, have video footage of the Kraken now, which is pretty cool.
I gotta see this.
Yeah, it's very, very large squid.
Oh, yeah. That does remind me of Russian scientists finding a telepathic octopus
Yeah.
that mimics humanity's voices. So it'll pretend to be a female.
That is so crazy.
Yeah, just to lure you in so that you get close to it.
Like
so
a
it can,
siren.
yeah, like a siren, so it can attack you and
What?
squeeze
That's
you
so creepy.
and eat you.
And there's also a camouflage octopus. I was obsessed with this creature for so long. I saw him on, like, Planet Earth or something originally. He is so good at masking himself to look like coral reef or a rock, or my favorite one was the sea snake, you know, the black and white zebra, like, striped sea snake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He camouflaged himself to look like a bunch of sea snakes, like a pile, and scared away, like, enemies that would normally eat them but are afraid of the snake. And he can also use it to lure in things that would eat the snake that he would eat.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he's doing all kinds of things with his camo talents.
wild.
But yeah, it's like he's so good at it. Like, you would have thought 100% you're looking at snakes or
Yeah.
like coral reef. Like, it's so crazy.
Wow.
He sounds like the Pokemon Ditto, but of the underwater creature world.
Yeah, he pretty much is.
So, like, the more research that I do on this subject, the more I come to understand that actually the U.S. Navy has a lot more intelligence than we know. They're dealing with a lot more open areas than the Army actually is. When we hear about this UFO event that was released recently by the U.S. government, I think that they're trying to spin it in a fearful kind of manner, right? Because it doesn't sound like a really happy-go-lucky kind
Yes, yeah.
of feel-good alien
they don't
story.
want you looking for them.
Yeah.
They
Like-
want you scared shitless.
Yeah. I tend to side with Dr. Stephen Greer on the matter, though.
Me too. I don't necessarily think all UFOs, USOs are evil. There's
Yeah.
no way.
I
There
think
ha-
most of them probably aren't.
well, yeah, that's the thing. There has to be a balance.
Yeah, and some of them are probably us from the future too. On top of that, on
Oh,
top
yeah.
of like actual alien. But we've talked about that before. Of even the aliens, or what we think are aliens, could also be versions of us from different timeline.
Yeah. I think it's really important that we don't buy into the fear-driven agenda by the mainstream media.
Never lose your sense of curiosity.
Absolutely.
Keep
Absolutely.
exploring the unknown.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I think too, right? If these ETs wanted us gone, they would have wiped us clean a long time ago. You know,
Yeah.
we would have been gone
So
from this
true.
planet
Yeah.
based off of what technology that we know about them having, right?
Yeah.
For all we know, they've been here since at least Roswell, New Mexico. That UFO
Yeah.
incident, for some of our listeners who may have not heard about it, it was in 1947, and that was the down ship.
Yeah.
So we've known about it at least since then.
Yeah, and even the bad ones, I don't think they want to kill
No.
us. They just want to use us for purposes
Yeah.
unknown and not so unknown.
Yeah, but I
Like our energy.
Yeah, I tend to believe that aliens have been on this planet a lot longer than just that Roswell incident
Oh,
leads
yeah.
us to believe, right? You know, the media's been conditioning us with these fear-mongering films throughout history. Look throughout your childhood and tell me that you haven't name one movie about extraterrestrials that's been positive or uplifting.
Paul.
E.T.
Okay, you did, but still, that's far and
E.T. is a
few in between,
classic.
right? We know that the CIA's been influencing.
Yeah, no, I see
Yeah.
where you're coming
Like, there's
from.
what, two
There's
movies
a lot of
that are
evil,
good?
like alien doomsday type
Mhm.
movies, way
Yeah.
more than there are the ET types.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
alien cliches.
Yeah.
We know about this from Operation Mockingbird. And for those of you who don't know what Operation Mockingbird is, It's the program that the United States Central Intelligence Agency, they began it in the early years of the Cold War, so about 1950s. And they attempted to manipulate the news media for propaganda. Later on in 1976, there was a committee that actually brought this information out. So,
Okay.
thankfully now we kind of have an idea of what they've been doing with Hollywood, and it hasn't stopped. I don't think it did.
No, definitely not.
The next USO case is from 1971, and this photo was supposedly taken from the Navy's USS Trepang Submarine. I'm going to show it to you guys.
Awesome.
This is probably one of the coolest photos I've ever seen.
What the heck?
That's coming out of the water.
Can I see?
Yeah.
It's like a submarine, like jumping like a whale or a dolphin would.
Oh, wow. It does look like a Tic Tac or even a cigar shaped.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Someone's dropping a log off at the pool.
It's a big log.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just trying to paint a picture for our listeners.
Yeah, you did. Great job.
It does. It looks like a giant fat cigar
Yeah.
hurling through the air.
Yeah.
Jumping out of the water as if it was a sea animal, that the way they dive in the water.
So yeah, that picture really reminds me of what they described in more recent events that they disclosed. Very similar shape. And it looks like it has no propulsion system, so it could be using that same, anti-gravity technology that they might employ on all of their craft.
Imagine being there, like, you'd shit your pants. Then you see the guy on a little raft fishing, and then all of a sudden everything starts rumbling, and this giant submarine.
Oh, man. Who knows?
hurtles out of the water.
That's definitely not even a submarine, because a submarine would have to look a lot different and have a lot more metal on it.
There's more pieces coming off of a submarine,
Yep.
like engines and things like on a plane.
Yeah.
They would need ways to propel
That's just
themselves.
like a perfect
Yeah.
black cylindrical, no markings.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
been sightings of those same
Oh, yeah,
vehicles
you're
in
right.
the skies
Yeah.
or UFOs in the sky, and they could very well be the same vehicle, and they can also travel in the water.
Underwater, yeah.
Yes. And
Because there's portals all over the world for inner Earth and outer Earth and the galaxy and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So why not? Why not have a portal in the ocean
Oh, yeah.
that goes to inner Earth?
mm-hmm.
Watch our inner Earth episode, everybody. It was one of our first ones we put out. It links these two tales together.
Now, anyways, back to that story from 1971. The admiral of that submarine was contacted. Somebody tracked him down. That admiral claimed, he's like, the only thing that I saw was ice that day. So I think he's still...
Someone paid him off.
Yeah, for real.
They're sworn to secrecy, though, so I don't...
That's true. They always are, yeah.
Or you get a bullet, so...
Well, we all know that it's classified information that these U.S. navies are pretty much indulged in. Like,
Yeah.
they are not allowed to speak about anything that they see.
Yep.
They
Shut your mouth or we'll do it for you mentality.
Exactly. Like, they swear to an oath, right?
Yeah.
So
Their oath should be to protect and serve, but
that's the cops.
I guess there's
You
other
think.
oaths that oath the true oath.
So, yeah, like it's not just our oceans that are so mysterious and undiscovered. We actually know about, Trinity brought up Lake Baikal, and that's located in Russia. It's near the Mongolian border, right? And it's the largest and deepest lake in the world.
Oh, wow.
It's freshwater.
Ooh,
Just keep that in mind.
love it.
Yeah, so it's deeper than all the Great Lakes in North America
Can you
combined.
imagine that? Wow.
It's deeper than all the Great Lakes in North America combined. Okay, it has a depth of 6,000 feet, right?
Wow.
And the most shallow parts are 7 feet.
That's crazy.
So the drop-off's pretty big. Anyways, this lake is the richest in freshwater life, okay? It has about 370,000 species that are not found anywhere else in the
Whoa.
world.
Wow.
Yes.
Want to go there.
Okay.
That's the place to scuba dive. Seeing Pokemon and stuff under the water.
Real.
I know, right?
Some of them, some fish do look like Pokemon.
They do.
Pretty crazy.
Apparently, scientists have dated Lake Baikal to over 25 million years old.
Wow.
So there's probably so many species that we haven't
even
discovered
seen
yet.
yet. Like, man, that would be such a cool job too, to be the guy who discovers this new species.
Yeah, but how about if you're the guy who discovers those telepathic squid people? That could be. That could be.
Until you discover something
Yes,
that's
that you
like,
don't want to see.
yeah, that's true. I never thought about that.
Yeah. So like even you know how we were saying it's on the Russia-Mongolian border?
Yeah.
Back in the day, back in the Mongolian Empire when Genghis Khan was around, they believed that spirits were everywhere.
Yes.
They weren't shy about that. But when it came to Lake Baikal, they were saying, they were like, no, there's demons that live there. That's their account, and they were some pretty.
Rough and tumble folk.
They weren't exactly afraid of anything.
Ah,
Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
they were men.
Yeah, they were
Real men.
Real men. We're not scared of the depths.
You sound like Hulk Hogan.
Oh yeah, brother.
How It's so good.
UFOs or USOs have been seen above the lake, and also strange lights coming from underneath the water are frequently spotted by locals. It was in 2009 when pilots flying over the lake reported that 2 massive holes in the ice would mysteriously appear every year after the lake freezes over. Imagine these holes being put in ice that's at least 7 feet thick. What could possibly do that? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know of anything.
I'm puzzled on that.
And then these holes would appear in different locations in the lake as if it was breaking through to leave or enter.
Well, they wouldn't be fishing holes either, right? They disprove that. 'cause
No,
there's
they were
always
massive.
fishing.
Yeah, they're gigantic.
They're massive.
Oh.
And you could only see them from bird's eye view.
Yeah, so that's why the pilots ended up
Like
reporting
crop
them.
circles on the lake.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, I'm assuming they think that it's entrances and exits from these crafts.
that's what they were
Yeah, yeah.
speculating because there were scientists, they were trying to say that, oh, it's methane, but then, you know, these holes were happening so close to the shoreline, which there wouldn't be any methane deposits so near the shore.
Hollywood mimicry again, guys. There's a movie about this family who goes ice fishing, and this black, like 9-foot tall alien being comes out of the hole and starts murdering everyone
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, but
because they want you to be afraid. It goes back to what we were saying,
Of
right?
course.
They're actually mimicking real life things that
Yeah.
are situations, but putting a negative spin on it so that we
would fear it.
will feel negative about it. Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, going back to that, what you were talking about, Seven, those holes were so close to the shoreline, which means that methane gas cannot come through shallow water. That would only happen in the deep end.
Yeah. Then they were like, well, okay, it can't be
Very
methane.
True, very true.
Yeah.
And then they were like, well, then it could be hot water coming up. So since these holes were appearing even in the middle, what would happen is that water in the summer is only, I
3
think, 3
degrees.
degrees. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. 3
Wow.
degrees.
So imagine how cold that water is. How is
That's
it
not
hot water?
They're
What
gonna,
the heck?
but they're gonna try and make anything up to fit their agendas.
Of course.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So
Crazy agendas.
there's this lady. She's a local. Her name's Valerie Shinda. She claims that her and 13 others saw a UFO over Lake Baikal on April 17th, 1987 at 12:20 a.m. Okay, and it was during a full moon. And I don't know if that means anything to you, but I
Always.
to me
Yep.
it means something.
All the good shit happens under the full moon.
Yeah,
The light of
exactly.
a full moon.
So Valerie describes these crafts as being 70 meters in diameter. They had purple and yellow lights surrounding the perimeter. I'm thinking that these are the crafts that were putting these giant holes in this lake
Yeah.
in the ice.
Well, wasn't it seen right in front of the lake, or
yeah, it was
on
right
top
above.
of,
Well, they were.
right on top of the lake?
Yeah, she's a local, and she was describing an experience that she had, and she was like, "Well, this was happening over the lake." It's a. She's not the only one who has a record of seeing UFOs
Yeah.
in this area. There was another fisherman. Actually, he was literally fishing on this lake when this happened. His name's Nikolai Karif, and he claims to have seen silver swimmers while he was out on the south side of the lake. One night, he spotted the beings while he was there with a few of his fisherman friends. This spot that they go to, apparently it goes to a depth of over, 4,500 feet. And the temperatures, like we were saying, they go no higher than 3 degrees in the summer, so that's cold water.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that can make
yeah.
your heart stop.
Absolutely. You'll freeze if you try to swim in this, right? So-
Yes.
Anyways, one night, him and his friends were silently fishing, doing their thing, and then all of a sudden they see these silver-like swimmers jumping out of the water, almost like a dolphin would.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Whoa.
it seemed like they were like, I don't know, almost playing around, but to them, the fishermen, it scared the crap out of them. Like they were.
No kidding.
Yeah.
How tall are these
'Cause they're
beings?
like, what the heck are these things?
9 feet?
I've heard 9 feet around there. Him and his friends were so terrified, which I would be in the same situation. I wouldn't be like, hey, let's shake hands. Like they were like, you know what? Let's get back to shore because if we tip, we're in big trouble here.
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
But he claims, he's like, I have never went back to that spot on the lake, and he's given up night fishing for the rest of his life.
Yeah, I would give up night fishing after seeing
Well,
those
he's smart
beings.
for like getting the fuck out of there
Yeah.
because then there's that other story of the divers that went down exploring. I can't remember where it was.
The Russian divers.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Russia.
It's always
and-
Russia.
And they encountered some beings under there, and they tried to entrap one, like, because their first thought was to let's catch this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I remember the story. They were 164 feet underwater in Lake Baikal, and it was 7.
Oh, it's Lake Baikal.
Yeah, it was 7 scuba divers when they were down there, they felt this eerie feeling of being watched. And then they started to see these shadows around them. And then a couple of these silver swimmers appeared.
Oh, were they also silver?
Yes, they were
Oh,
the same
wow.
beings that man had
he's
seen
talking
as well.
about.
Yeah, they're all in Lake Baikal.
Wow.
So these
That's
beings...
why it reminded me so much of the story, I guess. Continue.
Yeah, so these beings, when the Russian scientists / divers, they were looking for information on them. And so when they appeared, they tried to capture them with a net.
Yep.
Which is the biggest
Rookie
mistake.
Yeah.
Because, Seven, do you want to finish the story?
Yeah, from what I understand, apparently they were sent back to the surface. Okay, they were almost like repelled by an energy or a force.
Like a blast of energy.
Imagine that being 164 feet
like almost like sonar. That's
in
what
the
we were
water.
talking about before with the dolphins. It's almost like a high dose of it. Like,
well, decompression sickness is what happened to them.
they gave them the bends.
Yeah, they were pushed up. They surfaced way too quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, serves you right for trying to catch one of these things and not they're treating them like animals and specimens when these are sentient
advanced creatures,
humanoid beings, that are probably even way smarter and more advanced than us, and we're treating them like some freaking thing we can just capture in a cage.
In a net.
Yeah.
Classic
like
humans.
a fish. Like, how insulting.
Yeah.
These guys were probably communicating like with sonar to each other, this other race. And we're probably laughing at the whole time. And it's like, watch, this human thinks it can capture us. Let's see let it get close, and then blast them all away. And they're probably laughing it up over some fish cocktails down there after.
Well, yeah, those divers definitely reaped their rewards afterwards because 3 of them passed away.
Mm-hmm, wow. Yeah. If you know anything about decompression sickness, it'll wreak havoc on your body. Let's just say that.
Wow,
if you ascend too quickly.
That's unfortunate.
Only 4 survived.
Yep.
Yep.
Just based off of the things that we heard today, I mean, there's so much undiscovered things underwater.
Oh, yeah.
That we don't know about still, and we're still uncovering.
Yep.
Like, just for an example, like there's pyramids off of the coast of Cuba. There's pyramids off of the coast of Japan. We're just finding these things out.
They are also studying the immortal jellyfish, which they think will help them uncover humanity's link to being able to access immortality. They think the answer lies in these immortal jellyfishes, which basically do a Benjamin Button style life where they age, and then after a certain point they start going backwards again, and just kind of like you said before, ping-ponging between early and late years and just going back and forth and regenerating. They're in constant cycle of regeneration. And their telomeres.
Telomeres.
Yeah, they don't like expire.
It's on their DNA. So it's on your DNA strands, and your telomeres is your biological age.
Yeah. So those things, they somehow have a way to preserve your telomeres so that, or reverse the process in them.
Did you know meditation actually lengthens your telomeres? So when you meditate, you're actually creating
your life?
Yeah, you're creating longevity to your life.
You're putting yourself into a state of where you can generate those telomeres. So they're potentially doing a form of meditation.
Yeah.
Wow.
So basically what they're saying is the link to immortality in humans may be found in these jellyfishes. So
that's so cool.
The answers were in the sea.
Some of our answers to our most mysterious questions could be underneath the waters.
Yeah, which
like
is why
Atlantis.
they don't want us looking into it and
exactly
exploring it, because we'll get too many answers and we can't have that.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, it's been great. I love discussing this with both of you ladies today.
Yeah, that was a fun one. That was a fun one.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out.
Yeah. You guys can catch a new episode of Stellar Gnosis every Wednesday at 7 p.m. on Anchor, YouTube, and Spotify. We also have a TikTok and Instagram page, also at Stellar Gnosis.
And if you guys want to contact us, you can email us at stellargnosis@protonmail.com. We love you guys, and thanks for coming out and listening to us.
Love you.
Catch you next week.